and thank you for joining us on Across the Fence. I'm Jolie Whitney. I love it when today's guest stops by Across the Fence because we get to talk about one of my favorite things to do, especially this time of year, and that's reading. In a moment, we'll provide some book recommendations for, as the song says, kids from 1 to 92. And I'm sure if you're older than that, you'll still love them. And first, I want to introduce our guest, Bree Drapa. She's the director of the Westford Library, and it's wonderful to see you again. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thanks. I'm so excited to talk about books.
I know, me too, and this is the perfect time of year. But before we jump into it, I'd be remiss not to mention everything else that libraries have to offer: snowshoes, knitting supplies. Tell me about the Library of Things.
Right, Library of Things. So your library most likely has other things besides books to check out. So be sure to check out what they have. Our library has things like Happy Lights for seasonal affective disorder. We have even card table and chairs. Some libraries have snowshoes, kayaks, all kinds of things, puzzles. Check out what your library has. You might be surprised.
Sure, so a lot to offer there.
A lot to offer besides books.
And there are also places, one of the last places that you can check out a movie in case you miss doing that, but there are also some streaming services available. Tell me about it.
Right. So a lot of movies, old holiday movies, are not on Netflix or Apple TV or whatever. You can still get them on DVD at the library if that's what you've got. And you can even check out DVD players at some libraries.
Oh, wow.
But the new thing is streaming services. So your library might have Hoopla to watch movies or Canopy. But a lot of libraries are having something now called Biblio Plus, which is kind of cool, and it has a lot of music, documentaries, BBC content, and it's all free.
Great.
With your library card.
One-stop shop.
Exactly.
And you recommend this can be kind of a stressful time of year, and you recommend if you need some time away from maybe all the festive family stuff to visit your library. Why is that?
Right. The library is one of those last great free places that you can go. It's kind of like your third place or your living room away from home. And if you have family visiting and your house feels a little crowded, send Grandma and Grandpa with the kids off to the library. There's toys and books to explore, and it's completely free. It's stress-free, and it just might give everyone the break they need to have a really happy holiday season.
All right, and one more topic before we jump into our collection of books we have to get through today. If you're looking for something to do inside, maybe this time of year, libraries also have different passes or tickets to local attractions like museums. What's that look like?
Yeah, you can check out a museum pass with your library card. So depending on where your library is located, the museums might be different, but at the Westford Public Library, we have Shelburne Museum Pass, which is great to go look at all of the fun things they've got set up, or maybe even the Vermont History Pass. If you have visitors coming in and they want to learn a little bit about Vermont, you could send them out somewhere with some of your library passes.
Great, so some stuff for yourself and maybe some stuff for some family visiting that you maybe need a break.
Exactly.
Yeah, with love, of course.
With love, of course.
All right.
And it's free at the library.
Perfect. And now let's jump into some books. We're starting off with a couple of recommendations for chapter books for middle school readers. Tell me a little bit about Enemies in the Orchard.
Okay, well, Enemies in the Orchard is a World War II novel in verse. So novels in verse are really, really popular right now. It doesn't mean poetry. What it is it's a story told with kind of more white space on the page. So kids get a real sense of accomplishment of turning the pages. Plus they can use their imagination more to fill in the gaps where the description is maybe intentionally lacking. But Enemies in the Orchard follows a true story of World War II POWs, German POWs, who were sent to America to harvest crops in the Midwest. And getting that kind of perspective. One, I didn't know that happened.
Yeah.
And two, just getting that perspective of these are scared teenage kids sent across the ocean and interacting with Americans who are here as well. So it's a really great glimpse into World War II. Doesn't have a ton of violence or fighting. And a lot of people are really enjoying it.
Sure.
It's also on this year's Golden Dome list, which should be available at any library in Vermont.
Nice. So it's a nice way maybe if you already love reading to mix it up, or maybe if you're trying to get into reading, it's a little more accessible.
Yeah, I think this would make a great gift. It would make a good family read aloud too.
All right,
So.
absolutely. And tell me about this other one. This one's a crime story about a famous painting, of course, the Mona Lisa. Who else? Tell me about this one.
Yes, the Mona Lisa didn't used to be famous. I mean, it was always a Leonardo da Vinci painting, but until the early 1900s, when it was stolen, it became really famous. So this book is a true crime. It's kind of upper middle school. It's nonfiction. It's got pictures. It's got correspondence. It's got some primary sources in it, but it just reads like a true crime book. So the Mona Lisa is stolen. You learn about the Mona Lisa painting, who was in the Mona Lisa, who stole the Mona Lisa, all those kind of things. So much Mona Lisa, but it's so well written and accessible. for those kids that are maybe wanting a little bit of a challenge, but also that satisfying story. It's great. So read all about the Mona Lisa in The Mona Lisa Vanishes.
All right, we love to also learn some true things when we
Right,
read.
exactly. I learned so much in this book.
All right, now actually let's move on to some young adult chapter books up next. And this one's also kind of a mystery. Can you talk about The Death at the Morning House? And I've heard of this one.
Yes, Death at Morning House. This is written by Maureen Johnson, who's famous for her young adult Truly Devious series. So Truly Devious is a really great, very popular series of young adult kind of mystery, little romance in there maybe. But Death at Morning House is a standalone. It's her new one. This gave me total like Scooby-Doo vibes in that the cast of characters are so quirky. They're trying to solve a mystery before it gets them. You know, so you have that kind of suspense. This is the perfect kind of brain candy type of book that I would have loved as a high schooler on vacation, or, you know, just to get away from all the required reading. This is a lovely book for that. And I think it also would appeal to adults, too, who just want that escapism.
Sure.
Yeah,
it's also nice to have kind of a light read.
Definitely a light read for an adult, but definitely an engaging read for a teen.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we've got one more for YA readers. That's Resball. Tell me about this one. It was actually recently adapted into a movie. Is that right?
Well, there is a series on Netflix also called Resball, which has a lot of buzz going on about it, and that's why I kind of brought it. This book has nothing to do with that series, which is produced by LeBron James, and maybe like kids who like basketball or teens just might have heard of it because it's cool. But I brought this for that tie-in. It's the same kind of subject matter. So Resball is on the Green Mountain Book Award list, which is Vermont's book award list for teens. So it should be available at any of your libraries. And it follows a young boy coming of age on the Ojibwa reservation, learning his life, learning about life, learning about basketball. So his brother died. His brother was the high school champion, gonna make it big, and he died. And then now he's trying to fill some very big shoes. It is great for fans of basketball. There's definitely some terms I had to look up, like basketball terms. I'm like, what is windmilling? I don't know, because I'm not a basketball fan, but I'm a fan of this book because it's a great coming of age story. It is very realistic in that it uses some language. So there's some, language that boys might use on the basketball court.
Something to be aware of.
Something to be aware of. So if you buy this as a gift, you might, not. I don't know.
Just keep it in mind.
Just keep it in mind. Keep it in mind. But I do think it'll get a whole bunch of kids reading who are reluctant readers because of the subject matter.
Great.
And the tie-in. Not really. It's a Netflix show.
All right, and we actually were kind enough to let me offer a book for readers at home. I recently read The Guest List, and this book had me enamored, and it follows a bunch of different people. I think it's about 5 people all going to this wedding at an isolated Irish island, and it's very rainy, very off the Irish Sea, as you could imagine. So I know we're getting into snowy season a little bit more, but it's still very like kind of a cozy read that you want to read inside, and I could not put it down. So I can't recommend it anymore, and it's just a great mystery. It's an adult book. It handles a lot of adult themes, and I don't know how many kids would really engage with it, but I know that the parents will love it. I had a great time. So that's my recommendation. And you actually, we've known each other long enough that it sounds like you maybe saw a book and thought of me as well. So what'd you bring?
I did. And I have to second that Lucy Foley book, and she's got several others. So if you've read that one, you can pick up another one at your library. So I brought for you a Vermont author, and this is a book I think you would like. When I brought the World War II one out for kids, you were like, ooh, World War II. Well, this is a historic fiction with a bit of romance in it. It's called The Universe of Two, and it's by Vermont author Stephen P. Kiernan, who is just a lovely author. I've heard him speak a couple times at local libraries, and he's really generous with his time for libraries, so good plug for him.
Great.
But this is kind of a fictionalized look into Oppenheimer. Not actually Oppenheimer, but one of the mathematicians on his team, and also the girl that he's kind of wooing. So it's the universe of two. It's about their relationship. It's about how you be a part of something like the Manhattan Project and come away from that. and heal after that. And so their love brings them together too. So I thought it's very nice historical fiction. It's cozy, and it has some romance in there.
Great.
So I thought you would love it because you
absolutely.
like all of those things.
We're almost out of time, so we got to get through these pretty
I'm
quickly.
going to plug his new book too,
Okay,
because
great.
he's got another one. So check out The Glass Chateau by Stephen Kiernan.
All right, absolutely.
As well.
And this one's a classic, Jurassic Park.
Oh yeah, I'm going to pull out just 2 classics. So for the holidays, and you want to buy a book for someone, buy a classic. Jurassic Park still holds up. If you've got that, what do I buy my teen grandson? What's he going to read? Jurassic Park still holds up. They'll be familiar with the story. The science is still really interesting in here, and it's just action-packed. So check out Jurassic Park again. Give it another shot. The same thing with Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. Andy Weir wrote The Martian, which was made into a movie, and Project Hail Mary is coming out as a movie starring Ryan Gosling. You know.
Wow. Okay. So read it before you watch it.
Read it before you watch it, but it is so good. It is just so good. So many people like this, from teens to adults. So it's about saving the world using engineering, which is really fun.
I think we got time for just one more. So tell me what you got here.
Talk about this one.
This is a nonfiction book.
This is a nonfiction book for adults, for those who like a self-help type of book. This is The Service Berry by Robin Wall Kimmerer. This is brand new. She is the author of Braiding Sweetgrass, which a lot of people really, really liked. And this book, The Service Berry, is about abundance and reciprocity in the natural world. So it talks about this plant and how it acts in the natural world, and maybe we can resemble that by giving into our community and taking and just being a part of that give and take of the natural world.
Sure.
So I think people will really, really like it. I like the back. It says, all flourishing is mutual.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, yeah.
And really quickly, I would be remiss without mentioning The Burnout, which is a nice handy thing if maybe you're having a hard time at work, something like that.
Yeah, so Burnout by Emily Nagoski is a really, really great book. It's very simple, it's very short. It's got like 8 things you can do to avoid burnout in your life, and they're very simple, like get better sleep, hang out with friends. But the way that she does it, talks about it, is so approachable. The lens is a little bit more for women, which we get a lot of corporate burnout for men. So this is a unique thing. And I think it would appeal even to like college students or anyone experiencing burnout would get a benefit from that book.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming in today.
You're welcome.
And that wraps up today's program. I want to thank the crew behind the scenes here at WCAX who make our programs possible. I'm Jolie Whitney. This is Across the Fence. Have a good one.